Hey, it's Phoebe Blamey. Let's go on a journey together. This is the Happy Money Journey podcast, and I am here to take you on a journey that is going to lead to your financial freedom using my expertise to give you the hints, tips, and know-how to write your own path and map your own happy money journey. Hey everyone, it's Phoebe Blamey and welcome to your Happy Money Journey podcast. I'm going to take you on a journey today through the money drama triangle. Now, I don't know if you're familiar with Cartman's drama triangle, but I was thinking about this the other day and I thought it just applies to so many people I know and how they are with their money. And basically, it's all about dysfunctional social interactions to start with. It's people playing the victim, the persecutor, and the rescuer in a conflict response. And that to me is really interesting because it really speaks to the way that some of us deal with and relate to our money. So whether you're aware of it or not, you might have a money drama triangle going on. And it could be creating some really, really unhealthy financial patterns. So don't worry about that because by the end of this episode, we are going to unlock your money drama triangle, have a look at your financial patterns, and actually get moving on how we're going to address your money drama. So, as I said, the concept of the drama triangle is Stephen Cartman's dysfunctional interpersonal relationships. We've all got a few of those in our lives, I am quite sure. So it involves the three roles. And they're the roles of the victim, the rescuer, and the persecutor. And understanding these roles is a great key to help us recognize some of the patterns and some of the steps that we can then take to change them. So let's start by really understanding the drama triangle. So as I said, roles are the victim, the person that is feeling hopeless and overwhelmed by their financial situation. They might say things like, I'll never get out of debt, or why does this always happen to me? The rescuer, the person that needs to save others from their financial problems, sometimes even at their own expense. They might be thinking, if I don't help this person, it's my responsibility to fix things for this person. And the persecutor blames everyone else, external conditions for their own financial issues. So they might use phrases like it's the bank's fault for the high interest rates, or if only my partner would manage money better. And that leads them to be a little bit controlling. So you might see some of these roles in yourselves, in some of the relationships that you've got around you. For example, I was chatting to a friend who's a business owner the other day and outwardly really successful, but I pick up on her inner victim when it comes to managing her money. She really talks as though she's got absolutely no control of her financial outcomes, that everything is based on good luck rather than good management. I've got another one that's great at business but fails to pay tax on time and then blames the accountant, the tax man, the government, their spouse. It's everyone else's fault and they're simply enforcing the will of someone else. So this person is obviously most likely to enforce financial dependency at the same time as having a go at their victim for being out of control with spending. I often see this victim persecutor in a marriage or a business relationship, and it's toxic, let's face it. And I hate using that word. But this is where I often find myself. I am the rescuer. It's why I choose to do the job that I do. It's why I like doing the things that I do. I want to rescue everybody. So understanding that it's not my fault and that I don't need to be fixing other people's financial problems. I don't need to be giving them money or propping them up or doing things to fix what's broken in them, because if I do that, then I'm falling right into their drama triangle. So as a rescuer, and I know that as we're identifying with these various things, most of you will be calling out on the rescuer. It's not your job to fix other people's financial problems. You can offer support and guidance if it's appropriate. You can just say no, and we've said this many times before, but no is a full sentence. You don't need to put yourself at risk to help someone else out of their financial problems. So think carefully about how you respond with money. Maybe you've played one of these roles, maybe you've played all three, And probably you have at different times in your life. So we're seeking these roles because they're familiar to us. They're things that we see in movies, in ads, in stories, all over the place. You might have really found this role in your family, and you might perpetuate it outside of your family because that's the role that you've taken. So victim, for example, or you may have flipped your role, say from victim to persecutor. The key to breaking free of your money drama triangle is to recognize the role that you're playing and to understand how this is perpetuating your financial stress. So here are some actionable steps that you can take to break your money drama triangle. The first one, be aware. Know when you are playing these roles. Start at the beginning when you hear yourself in a drama triangle. Know that you're getting nothing but drama. Take the center. So move away from the actual drama and into a place of calm. Almost all conflict interactions are based on who's better or worse, who's right or wrong, who's deserving of blame, who's deserving of defense, who gets more, who gets less, who does more, who does less. So if you break that dynamic, that superior-inferior dynamic, that makes us learn to accept differences and similarities between ourselves and others, right? As neither good or bad. They're just different. And then you need to know, what does it look like to live without succumbing to those superior and inferior, right and wrong, good and bad feelings about ourselves and others? It means that we're seeing everyone as unique individuals with their own strengths and their own abilities, their weaknesses, their lack of skills, without thinking that someone's better or worse than anyone else. We're looking at people without judging them as right or wrong. Now, it's not your role to fix people. Did I just say that? If you want to be around other adults. And I'm thinking that you really do want to be around other adults, right? So we can play with, when we're having a look at the Cartman's drama triangle, there's a few responses to Cartman's drama triangle on how to live healthily. And one of them is Choi's winning triangle. So this is replacing persecutor with assertion, admitting that you've got needs and you need to be supported, rescuer with being caring, listen but don't fix, support but don't solve, and victim for vulnerable, say I'm struggling, I need help. Taking positive action around your money, asking for help instead of apportioning blame, means that we stop behaving like a victim and constantly thinking that we're never going to be good enough with money. And it's something that I hear over and over again is in that role of helping people with their money, is that I'll never be good with money is a constant ringing in my ears. So you're identifying, when you're saying that, you're identifying as a victim. So have a look at yourself. Do it without judgment, but recognize there's a pattern underlying this that you might really want to change. Take responsibility. Understand your current financial choices, and then understand that you yourself have the power to change the situation. Small steps. You know, that first part of the mini money makeover, for those of you who've done the course, and for those of you that haven't, we've got lots of podcasts and stuff about it. But it is analysing your current spending. If you've read the book, it's analysing your current spending, taking ownership, having the insight to know how you're spending and what you're doing with that, understanding where your money goes, and looking at where you might need a little bit of help. Where are you vulnerable? What are some of the things that you could be doing differently? When I did this with my client Lucy, it was an absolute game changer. All she needed to know was where she was spending to see what she was doing that was keeping her in victim mode, and then understanding that, you know, she earns the money, so that she knows, if she knows where the money's going, she also knows that it's her money, so she can see that she's overly spending in one area, and she might need to set boundaries in certain areas. And, you know, she can step out of the drama triangle in that simple space of being able to take ownership. Now, like I said before, I'm the rescuer, so I need to swap out that desire and change that to a desire to coach, to teach, to support, and have all the empathy in the world. But also, I need to really get out of that situation by seeking my own help, by talking to someone external, by helping myself set up boundaries. Learning words like no, that's not going to work for me, I'm not doing that. We talk about boundaries a lot in the Mini Money Makeover and as well. And so if you're really struggling with boundaries, that's something that I think we've also spoken about on the podcast. So if you're really, really struggling to set up boundaries, find that podcast, join the Mini Money Makeover, have a look at see some of the actions that you can take to support and educate yourself. Speak to someone who can help you set up the boundaries. Speak to your therapist, speak to your coach, speak to someone that can give you a bit of professional guidance about it. Now, the persecutor. The persecutor looks for the ability to blame someone else for their troubles. It's someone else's fault. It's the bank's fault. It's the government's fault. It's your fault. So instead of asking themselves if they can improve the situation, they apportion blame to the situation. Now, if you hear someone saying that to you, your significant other, if you hear yourself saying it, if one of your friends is saying it, it's about shifting the focus and responsibility from the external to the internal. And then you can stop playing the persecutor role. So my biggest go-to in that one, take responsibility. Again, educate yourself a bit about your personal finances, because if everything's everyone else's fault, it means that you're not being accountable to yourself. And you've got to look after yourself, right? As the number one person in this situation, you're letting others' choices and behaviors take care of you, then you're persecuting them for making a mistake. It's not fair. It's not even fair for you. So learn the craft of money. Educate yourself around the craft of money, because I've said this a million times, but no one is born knowing what to do. Everyone's fallible. No one wants to be mothered around this either. Nobody wants to be blamed for the mistakes they make. They want to be understood and accepted just as they are. So if you persecute someone for their financial choices, no matter how angry you are about your spouse's failed business or your child crashing their uninsured car, whatever it is, you need to be looking after yourself. So if it impacts you, understand how you could have taken responsibility. But if it doesn't impact you, let it go. Who cares? They're adults. They've made the wrong decision. They know it. And sometimes failure is our best lesson. So moving from drama to empowerment. Emerald, another responder to Kaufman's drama triangle, talks about alternate roles. Victim becomes creator. Persecutor becomes challenger. And rescuer becomes coach. So choosing our responses in terms of our money and in terms of our need, we can therefore say the victim's unable to contact or formulate their own needs and being unable to make a request takes a strategy of transferring the problem then onto the rescuer. The rescuer then takes care of the needs of others so that they don't need to take care of their own needs, so that they don't have to feel the discomfort of their own unmet needs. The persecutor listens to their needs and not to the needs of others at all. So isolates themselves in that way. The big question here, what do you need? And that's a put your hand over your heart, feel into the moment, what makes you feel safe, and understand that that's really what we're getting at here. You need to know what you need and then how you're going to respond to it. Take responsibility. Where are you in today's money drama triangle, and how can you move into that center? So the small act of taking absolute responsibility for our money and the choices around that is so empowering. It feels fierce and brave until one day it just becomes normal and natural to look after ourselves and remove the drama. Hope you've enjoyed my take on Cartman's money drama triangle today. Had a bit of fun listening, and it has been, as always, an absolute pleasure to be here for you, and enjoy your journey.
Thank you for listening to our podcast. My name is Hannah, and I am the producer of this podcast, along with Joshua Dean Graham. I would like to acknowledge the traditional owners and custodians of the land on which we live and work, and pay our respects to the ancestors and elders, past, present, and emerging. We are grateful and honoured to live on this land and pay homage to the traditions of storytelling, communities, and the connection to land. Thank you for listening to our podcast.
Disclaimer. Just a reminder that the advice that's contained in this podcast is general in nature. It doesn't take into account your individual